Hello and welcome to the first game of the Top Computer Chess Championships 15th season Superfinal, in which we have, surprise surprise, Stockfish versus Leela. Well, actually it's not a surprise at all. Right now they are both much better than the rest of the field. And in this first game we have a King's Indian with Stockfish on the white side of it. After bishop g7, of course, white takes the opportunity and occupies e4. Black allows white to have a big center and then attacks it with everything it has. This is a different approach from the Grünfeld defense, where black plays here d5 and tries to fight for the e4 square. After e4, they continued with d6, bishop e2, castles, bishop e3, and now e5, black strikes at white's center and tries to gain access to the e5 and c5 squares. Stockfish locks it with d5, and now the knight on b8 suddenly gets very excited and heads towards the c5 square. a6 is a better square to go to than d7 because it's a bit more flexible. It doesn't block in the bishop and also rules out b4 by white. Stockfish immediately gets aggressive with g4, and they both evaluate this position a bit better for white. Knight c5, immediately going to this dream square, from where it adds an extra attacker to e4. Stockfish defends with f3, and now Leela strikes at g4 with h5. If white takes, then black is immediately better because it's hard to attack the black king. The h-pawn can't attack g6 with the knight sitting on h5, and the f4 break, if it even would be possible, it would just weaken white's position. The bishop on g7 would come alive and e4 would be weak and so on. So after h5, instead of taking, Stockfish pushed the pawn to g5. Knight a7 attacks the pawn, h4, and now Leela attacks g5 again with f6. Pawn takes, bishop f2, defending the pawn on h4, king h8, queen d2, bishop d7, long castle, and now a6. Leela wants to play queen e7 and connect the rooks, but then Stockfish maybe could play knight b5 to attack c7, so a6 makes a lot of sense. King b1, and we have arrived in this very important position that I want to talk about. If you look at the configuration of the pawns, we can see that white's central pawn structure points towards the queen side, so that's where white should attack. The d5 pawn is white's most advanced pawn, and Stockfish would like to unblock it somehow with moves like b4 and c5, attacking d6. Black has better prospects on the king side, where f4 is a nice square to work with, as we will see later. And there's also a rule stating that you shouldn't really advance your pawns on the side where you have a space disadvantage, because you allow your opponent to engage the pawn sooner and open some lines for the attack. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually a rule from the big book of chess, but it's at least the best practice that makes sense. So you would probably imagine then that in order to follow this best practice and to demonstrate what I just said, Leela made some kingside planning. But no, she played rook b8. Is she planning to attack the white king with b5? Well, not really. She does something that we have seen her do many times before, stopping the opponent's counterplay before attacking him. This rook b8 move is not the I will play b5, open the file and kick your king in the buttocks kind of move. No, this is more like a don't you dare opening the b file because my rook's eyes are fixated on your king and bad things will happen kind of move. And indeed, after king a1, queen e7 and rook b1, Leela calmly played b6 with the idea to add more control over c5. If now Stockfish plays b5, then the knight could jump to either a4 or b7. And opening up the b file with c5 is not really advantageous for white. So Stockfish went back with the rook to f1, bishop e8, b3, rook a8, king b2, rook b8, a3, a5, and Stockfish now decided to stop any kind of line opening ideas against his king and played a4. And Leela likes this now very much because she can focus on the king side where she has an edge. This is what she was hoping for. Bishop d7, knight b5, knight a6, defending c7, bishop d1, rook f7, Leela moves forces to the king side. Knight back, rook g8, rook h2, knight c5, bishop e2, queen f8, Leela moves her queen also to the semi-open file. King a2, knight a6, bishop e3, leaving the defense of h4, so Leela immediately sends him back with queen e7, bishop f2, queen f8, and instead of repeating, Stockfish moved the king to b1. Bishop e7, clearing the way, bishop e3, knight c5, king c2, queen d8, attacking h4 again, queen e1, knight a6, king b2, knight c5, Leela is keeping the knight busy, king a3, rook f8, knight d1, and we can see again how Stockfish remained without an active plan. Knight a6, knight c3, and rook f4. Leela is giving up an exchange to get the h4 pawn. But Stockfish refuses the gift and plays bishop f2. King g7, bishop d3, rook back, bishop b1, knight c5. The position is equal, but Leela has the initiative. Queen e2, king h8, king a2, king g7, bishop e1, and rook f4, again attacking h4 3 times. Queen f2, and now knight f6. The knight would love to get in a nice little fork from g4. Rook h1, knight g4. The f-pawn is pinned, of course, so queen e2, but now knight back to h6. And here, instead of repeating with queen f2, Stockfish played knight h3, and Leela now finally gives up the exchange to get the pawn on h4. Bishop takes, queen g2, bishop takes the knight, rook takes, bishop g5, rook g3, knight f7, the only move, but good enough. And it looks like Stockfish got some activity, but everything is under control for black. The bishop on b1 is slightly unhappy. Rook a1, queen f6, rook g1, attacking with everything there is on that side of the board, but after king h6, defending the bishop, there's no way to increase the pressure, and Leela is planning on defending the g6 pawn with the rook, and after that, moving the bishop to f4. Queen e2, freeing g2 for the rook, rook g8, bishop c2, bishop f4, rook g2, rook g7, queen e1, knight g5, rook f1, knight a6 again, knight e2, knight b4 check, king b1, knight h7, rook h1, rook f7, queen c3, queen e7, rook g1, knight f8, rook back to h1, rook g7, queen e1, and finally Leela makes some progress with g5. Knight c3, knight g6, rook g1, rook h7, knight d1, h4, queen f1, king g7, queen h3, and the queen found a nice diagonal. Rook h8, rook g2, knight a6, knight f2, knight c5, knight d3, knight takes, bishop e3, queen g4, and after king h6, defending g5, Leela was optimistic about her position. She evaluated it at minus 2.8. Stockfish though said it's about equal. Bishop e2, queen f6, bishop d1, rook f8, queen g3, making use of the pin. Leela goes for a queen exchange, but Stockfish refuses, and the truth is that Leela can't really make progress with the pawns because Stockfish has good control of the h3 and g4 squares. And after many moves in which Leela tried to exchange queens unsuccessfully, in this position, Leela played queen d2, trying to mate Stockfish on b2. Bishop d1, queen e3. The g5 pawn is of course immune because of the queen c1 check and the mate on b2. King h2, bishop c5, and now that there's no mate threat, Stockfish takes on g5. But after queen d2 check and king b1, Leela takes the rook. The other rook recaptures, queen f4, bishop e2, queen d2, queen d8, rook f7, queen g8, rook g7, and now Stockfish went for a perpetual with rook g6 check. King takes on g6, queen e6 check, and there's no escape from the checks, and the game ended with a draw in this position. A great fight. I thought it's instructive how, again, Leela managed to stop play on the side of the board where the opponent had a space advantage, and how she managed to leave Stockfish without active play. Please subscribe, and if you like these videos, then share them with your friends so that they can enjoy them too. And also maybe I will get more subscribers. Thanks for watching and see you soon.